Stephen, good morning. First, Japanese officials have just downgraded from a major tsunami warning to a tsunami warning for the region near the epicenter.
In the early hours of January 1st, 2024, Japan's tranquility was shattered. An earthquake, mighty and unyielding, struck with a force that echoed through the heart of the nation. The ground beneath millions trembled, buildings swayed, and an unsettling silence followed, only to be broken by the urgent calls of warning sirens. As the dust settled, a new threat loomed on the horizon. The ocean, usually a symbol of calm and continuity, transformed into a sign of potential chaos. Tsunami, a word that resonates with a chilling familiarity in Japan, now whispered its approach. The nation, still reeling from the shock of the earthquake, braced itself. In the face of this looming challenge, the spirit of resilience and unity emerged, ready to confront whatever came next. Japan experienced a significant seismic event that has since captured global attention.
Japan is bracing for more aftershocks following a series of earthquakes on New Year's Day.
At approximately 4:10 p.m. local time, a powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 7.6 on the Japanese seismic intensity scale struck the Noto Peninsula. According to the Japan Meteorological Agency, the epicenter was located just 7 kilometers north-northwest of Suzu, situated on the Noto Peninsula in Ishikawa Prefecture. This earthquake was not only profound in its magnitude, but also notable for its depth and location, which contributed to its widespread impact across the region. The earthquake's magnitude, as measured by the moment magnitude scale, was 7.5, indicating a major seismic event capable of causing significant damage and aftershocks. The reverse faulting shock achieved a maximum JMA seismic intensity of Shindo 7 and a modified Mercalli intensity of 9, violent. These measurements reflect the severe shaking and potential for extensive damage associated with this earthquake. Japan is no stranger to powerful earthquakes, given its location along the Pacific Ring of Fire, a region known for its seismic activity. The most notable comparison is the devastating 2011 earthquake and tsunami, which had a magnitude of 8.9.
Good evening. Japan is on edge after a powerful earthquake rocked the country.
That event led to thousands of deaths and significant damage, including the Fukushima power plant crisis, and left an unforgettable mark on Japan's collective memory. Comparing the 2024 earthquake to the 2011 event provides insight into the potential scale and impact of such natural disasters in Japan. While the 2024 earthquake was less powerful in terms of magnitude, its impact was nonetheless significant, particularly given the advancements in earthquake preparedness and response that have been implemented since 2011. The immediate effects of the 2024 earthquake were felt strongly across the region. Reports from the ground indicated scenes of devastation along Japan's western coast, with buildings damaged and residents in distress. The earthquake triggered multiple aftershocks, adding to the sense of panic and urgency among the affected populations. Following the 7.6 magnitude earthquake that struck Japan on January 1, 2024, the Japan Meteorological Agency issued immediate tsunami warnings, signaling a high risk of large waves along the country's western coastline. These warnings, focused on areas close to the earthquake's epicenter near the Noto Peninsula, extended to several prefectures along the Sea of Japan. Predictions of tsunami waves as high as 5 meters, approximately 16 feet, posed a significant threat to coastal communities. The Japanese government's response was swift and systematic, reflecting the country's well-established disaster management protocols. The primary focus was on ensuring the safety of residents in the affected areas. Evacuation orders were issued for nearly 100,000 residents in high-risk coastal areas and circulated through various channels, including television, radio, and mobile alerts. Emergency services, including fire, police, and medical teams, were immediately mobilized to assist with the evacuation process and to be on standby for rescue and relief operations. Evacuation centers were set up in safe zones, well equipped with necessary supplies and medical aid, and designed to accommodate large numbers of evacuees while adhering to safety protocols.
Pretty massive, if you ask me. So the whole room was shaking, the TV was shaking.
Efforts were made to secure critical infrastructure, including power plants and water supply systems, to prevent further damage and ensure the continuity of essential services. The Japanese government also coordinated with international agencies in neighboring countries to monitor the situation and prepare for any additional support needed. The public's reaction to the tsunami warnings was a mix of urgency and disciplined response, shaped by Japan's collective memory of past disasters and the country's culture of preparedness. residents in the affected areas swiftly complied with the evacuation orders. Despite the short notice, the evacuation process was orderly, with people moving to higher ground or designated evacuation centers. There was a strong sense of community support, with neighbors helping each other, especially the elderly and those with mobility issues, to evacuate safely. Many residents relied on technology, including smartphones and social media, to stay informed about the situation, communicate with loved ones, and navigate to evacuation centers. While there was a general sense of calm and orderliness, the situation was emotionally taxing for many, especially those who had experienced the 2011 disaster. The fear and anxiety was evident, but the collective focus remained on safety and mutual support. The 7.5 magnitude earthquake that struck Japan not only unleashed a wave of destruction on land, but also set in motion a series of events under the sea, leading to the formation of potentially devastating tsunami waves. A tsunami, often misconceived as a single giant wave, is actually a series of waves caused by the displacement of a large volume of water. In 2011, was due to the seismic activity along the ocean floor. The earthquake's epicenter, located offshore, was the point where tectonic plates slipped, causing a sudden vertical displacement of water. This movement generated waves that traveled across the ocean at high speeds. The science behind tsunamis is complex and involves understanding the interactions between geology, oceanography, and physics.
A series of earthquakes in the Sea of Japan have shaken the central part of the country. It's caused widespread damage and triggered a tsunami warning along its west coast.
The depth of the earthquake, its magnitude, and the nature of the ocean floor all play critical roles in determining the size and impact of the resulting tsunami. In this instance, the shallow nature of the earthquake significantly amplified the tsunami's potential destructive power. As the tsunami waves propagated across the ocean, a network of buoys and tide gauges, part of an international tsunami warning system, began to record valuable data. These observations were crucial in providing real-time information about the tsunami's progression. The data shows variations in wave height and speed, painting a picture of the tsunami's behavior as it travels toward the coast. In some areas, the tsunami waves were observed to be several feet high, a significant size but thankfully lower than initially feared. The variation in wave height along different parts of the coast was due to the complex interplay of the tsunami waves with the underwater topography and the shape of the coastline. The advancement in technology and the establishment of early warning systems have been crucial in tsunami science. Satellite technology and sophisticated computer models enable scientists to predict the path and impact of tsunami waves with increasing accuracy. In Japan, these systems are providing crucial minutes of warning, allowing for the evacuation of coastal areas and potentially saving lives. The Japanese government and local authorities are using these warnings to implement well-rehearsed evacuation plans. The effectiveness of these systems, however, also depends on public awareness and preparedness, which in Japan is ingrained through regular drills and education. In the aftermath of the 7.5 magnitude earthquake that struck Japan, a complete damage assessment became crucial. The earthquake left a trail of destruction that was both vast and varied. In the hardest-hit areas, particularly in Ishikawa Prefecture,
officials in Japan have issued a major tsunami warning after a powerful earthquake struck areas to the north coast.
The damage was extensive. Buildings that had withstood previous tremors crumbled under the force of this quake. Historical structures and modern edifices alike were not spared, leaving a landscape littered with debris and ruin. Residential areas saw homes turned into rubble, leaving many without shelter. The visuals of collapsed buildings and streets, filled with the remains of what once were homes, brought the severity of the situation into sharp focus. Immediately following the earthquake, Japan's emergency response systems sprang into action. Rescue teams comprising both local and national forces were deployed to the affected areas. These teams worked tirelessly, often in dangerous conditions, to search for and rescue trapped survivors. The operation was a race against time, as aftershocks posed a constant threat to both the rescuers and those they were trying to save. In Ishikawa, where the damage was most severe, the efforts were concentrated on areas with the highest likelihood of finding survivors. Sniffer dogs, thermal imaging cameras, and specialized listening devices were used to detect signs of life under the rubble. The rescue operations were not just about saving lives, but also about providing closure to families waiting for news of their loved ones. The earthquake's impact on infrastructure was another critical aspect of the damage assessment. Roads and highways in the affected regions suffered cracks and breaks, disrupting transportation and hindering rescue and relief efforts. Railway lines, a vital part of Japan's transport network, were also affected, with services halted in several regions to assess the safety of the tracks and structures. The power infrastructure suffered significant damage, leading to widespread power outages. This loss of power had a cascading effect, disrupting communication networks and hampering rescue operations. Water supply lines were also affected, raising concerns about access to clean water and the potential for public health crises. The economic impact of the earthquake was immediate and far-reaching. Businesses, both large and small, were affected, with many suffering structural damage or loss of inventory.
Tsunami warning has been issued for the Noto region in this Ishikawa prefecture, so this is in central Japan.
The disruption to transportation networks and supply chains further compounded the economic toll. The social impact was equally profound. Thousands found themselves homeless, their lives uprooted in a matter of seconds. The psychological trauma of such a disaster, coupled with the loss of personal belongings and the uncertainty of the future, weighed heavily on the survivors. In response to the disaster, international aid has begun to flow into Japan. Countries around the world offer support in various forms, from financial aid to technical assistance. This global response underscored the interconnectedness of nations in the face of natural disasters. The 7.5 magnitude earthquake that struck Japan not only caused immediate physical destruction, but also raised significant concerns regarding nuclear safety. The shadow of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster loomed large in the aftermath of the earthquake. A massive earthquake and subsequent tsunami led to one of the worst nuclear accidents in history. The disaster caused widespread environmental and health concerns and led to a reevaluation of nuclear safety standards worldwide. As the news of the recent earthquake broke, the immediate question on everyone's mind was, could this be another Fukushima? In the wake of the earthquake, all eyes turned to the nuclear power plants nearest to the epicenter. The Japanese government and the plant operators assured the public that there were no immediate signs of damage or abnormal radiation levels. Inspections were swiftly carried out to assess any potential damage to the reactors, cooling systems, and backup power supplies. The nuclear plants in Japan are designed with rigorous safety measures, especially after the lessons learned from Fukushima. These include higher walls to protect against tsunamis, reinforced structures to withstand severe earthquakes, and multiple backup power sources. The quick response and the initial reports of no damage were a testament to these enhanced safety measures. Despite the assurances from authorities, the public's anxiety over nuclear safety was understandable.
The positive effect, while neglecting or almost sort of consciously ignoring.
The government, recognizing this concern, has increased its monitoring and reporting efforts. Regular updates are provided to the public about the status of the nuclear facilities, radiation levels, and any ongoing inspections. This transparency is crucial in maintaining public trust and preventing panic. The international community, still remembering the global impact of the Fukushima disaster, is closely monitoring the situation, offered assistance and expertise. This global cooperation highlights the understanding that nuclear safety is not just a national concern, but a global one. The earthquake reignited the debate over Japan's reliance on nuclear energy. Nuclear power has been a contentious issue in Japan, with public opinion divided. On one hand, nuclear energy offers a low-carbon alternative to fossil fuels, aligning with global efforts to combat climate change. On the other hand, the risks exposed by the Fukushima disaster have led to calls for a reduction in reliance on nuclear power. In the aftermath of the earthquake, policymakers and the public alike have begun to reassess the role of nuclear energy in Japan's future. Discussions centered around the balance between the need for clean energy and ensuring the safety of the population and the environment.